Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a video that was actually really highly requested on my Instagram. I asked a lot of you guys what type of videos besides vlogs you guys have been wanting to see during this pandemic, and a lot of you guys actually said some finance tips. I understand because right now it's such an uncertain time with finances. So many people have been laid off. So many people don't know when they're gonna find a job. So many people filed for unemployment in these last few weeks. It's a really scary time for everyone. So I wanted to kind of do my research and not just film a video just for the sake of it, but make sure that it was very well researched. And also I'm not an expert, so I wanted the help from other experts. So none of this is really my own advice. It's kind of all advice that I've seen as I've just been looking online, trying to compile the best resource video for you guys, because I do know that this is something that a lot of people are very worried about. It's very uncertain, and it's something I don't think many people would have expected to happen this year or ever. Now it's kind of here, so we're just figuring out ways to deal with it. I hope that this video helps, and I'm gonna have a bunch of articles down below, gonna have a bunch of resources down below, so that if you guys do need any help, they will be there. I'd love to hear your experiences and how you guys are dealing with this difficult time in the comments, and just have it be a positive space, please. I also did want to mention that the virus is a huge issue. It's not just, oh my gosh, our finances are troubled. Like, if you are healthy, if you are not in the hospital right now, if you don't have a loved one in the hospital right now, consider yourself lucky, because I do know that this is so much bigger than just people losing their jobs. Of course, that is a huge thing. There's so many people that have the virus that are in the hospital, that have lost loved ones without even having a chance to say goodbye, that are really worried to even step outside because they're immunocompromised, or they're really old, or they have old grandparents that they live with. So I didn't want to take away from that. I just wanted to make a separate video talking about finances and the situation that we are in regarding that. And one of the sad realities is that a lot of businesses are going out of business, or are furloughing or terminating their employees because they just don't have the money for it, leaving a lot of people unemployed. A lot of seniors that are graduating next year don't know what to do. I hope that this video helps any of you guys that are in that situation, and even if you're not in that situation and you're getting a paycheck still, I still think that you guys should listen to this video. Okay, so let's talk about what you can do right now, because I do know that right now there's so many things that we can't do. We can't go outside, we can't socialize, we can't get a job, we can't do a lot of things. Some of the things that are in our control as of now is starting an emergency fund. I know some people are going to say, how can you talk about saving when there's so many people that don't even have like money for rent? For people that can start an emergency fund, this is for you. I think having an emergency fund now more than ever is clearly shown how important it is. I just feel like now we should highlight how important emergency funds are and how crucial it is for everyone to kind of start saving for that and to start making one. And what an emergency fund is, it's a personal budget set aside as a financial safety net for future mishaps or unexpected expenses. So this is not something that you're going to be picking at every now and then just because you felt like going shopping, you don't have enough money for it, or oh no, like you went a little over budget, let me pick at my savings. Like, this is something that you really set aside only for emergencies. And I know saving right now kind of seems impossible for some people, but even a little bit helps. Even if you can only save $5 a week, like that is still going to add up in the long run versus not saving anything, and you will be thankful for when you did save. So just even putting away a little bit at a time does help. Good rule of thumb is 3 to 6 months of savings in your emergency fund. This does not include like your shopping expenses and your going out to eat and having fun expenses in those 3 to 6 months, because on a normal month you might spend a little more because you have more money coming in. But this is really just talking about rent, food, insurance, necessities, things that are going to get you to and from your job, that type of stuff. It's not really talking about any luxuries. And again, I just think even a little bit counts, and a little bit goes a long way. Like, I would rather have $100 saved in my emergency fund than nothing when it comes down to a rainy day. As for me personally, I really started saving, like truly saving, last year when I had my corporate job. I'm very fortunate to have had that corporate job along with YouTube, where I was kind of making 2 incomes. So I saved my entire income, and I still haven't touched it. It's something that I don't want to touch, and it's something that I'm only going to touch if I need to. So during times like these, I do work for myself. Things are uncertain. Like, people are not doing brand deals right now, marketing budgets are low, and that's where I get majority of my income. So things are definitely uncertain, but I'm very, very glad that I did have that cushion to fall back on if needed. But again, it's definitely something I don't want to dip into unless I absolutely have to in an emergency, which is a time like now. There's so many people I know that have been so thankful for having that set up. I know that it might be hard to set aside that $5 a week. I also wanted to say that this video is sponsored by Empower Banking. One of the best ways to do savings is Empower Banking's autosave feature, something that I have been using as of recently, and I've really, really loved it because it's very seamless. It's without thinking. It just automatically takes from your checking account into your emergency autosave account on Empower, which is just an app on your phone. You can withdraw at any time, but it just does the work for you, which is just an automatic transfer. I personally really like it because I don't have to think about it. In the past, when I was saving, I was manually doing all of the transferring, and some months I would forget, some paychecks I would forget. So this just allows it to be really easy, and it allows as little or as high of an amount you want every single week, or as often as you'd like it to be transferred into your autosave emergency fund if you needed it next month, because maybe you fell short, maybe you lost your job this past month. If you need it next month, you can withdraw it at any time, unlimited withdrawals. Also, if you are worried about not having enough money in your savings to save, you can start as small as you would like, and also it recommends how much you should save each week because they have like an intelligent autosave feature where it'll give its recommendations based on your spending habits, based on your income, based on how much you have in your account, which is really nice. So you can pause it at any time you need. If you do feel like you need to pause it for the next few weeks, you can do that, no penalty at all. You can come back when you feel comfortable to start putting money in that emergency fund. But I really like the flexibility of it because maybe some weeks I have more money to save, some weeks I have less money to save, but the fact that it automatically does it and that intelligent features that it has makes me feel really comfortable trusting that it's doing its job and that I am building a nice emergency fund for days that I might not have the money to pay my rent. I know things are uncertain right now, but it is something to think about that's really, really important. Now, this is for the people that have been recently laid off from their job. There are a ton of government assisted programs right now that you guys can apply to, that you guys can use, that you guys can use these resources for, and I really wanted to make it very condensed for you guys and then have everything linked so that you guys know exactly where to go and make it easy and cause you a little bit less stress. Asking the government for help can also be incredibly confusing. So hopefully this helps. Again, I'm not an expert, but I did do my research and this is all coming from everything I researched online. So the first thing, if you are unemployed and you got recently laid off, you should be filing for unemployment. This is crucial because you want to do it quicker and sooner rather than later. We have had such a surge of people on unemployment this past week. I'm sure last week or 2 weeks ago, 6.6 million Americans filed for unemployment in 1 week alone.
The Labor Department's newest weekly report on jobless claims shows the coronavirus is continuing to hurt the U.S. economy. The last two reports were historic. They showed around 10 million Americans had filed for unemployment. That is more jobs lost in a matter of 2 weeks than in the entire 18 months of the Great Recession.
The government is not really capable of filing 6.6 million unemployment in 1 week, so make sure to do it as soon as possible before every single person does it. Is really important into getting it as quick as possible so that you can start actually getting on your feet again. Now, the stimulus bill, which I feel like a lot of people have talked about, a lot of people know about, is the $1,200 check that the government is giving to people that qualify. If you qualify, I will have that linked down below. It can be very confusing, but hopefully these resources that I've linked has helped. So this stimulus bill actually does expand to more workers and does include a little bit more benefits. It offers an additional $600 a week to people who qualify, which is a lot higher than the average $385 a week it was giving back in January. And thanks to the pandemic unemployment assistance, this also covers contractors, people that are self-employed, people that are freelance, people that typically don't cover for unemployment benefits. It's now covering. So if you can prove that you have lost money, you've lost gigs, you've lost any work because of coronavirus, you're actually eligible for unemployment as well, which is definitely something that you should be looking into. You want to make sure that you are on top of it and filing as soon as possible. And also, if you are a small business and you have payroll, which means that you have people on payroll that you are paying out, then you also are qualified for some small business loans. The most popular one is called the Paycheck Protection Program. This is meant for covering your employees' compensation. This is meant for covering health insurance, rent, the mortgage, any utilities, pretty much any business expenses. And what it is, it's going to be the lesser average of how much you pay for payroll a month times 2.5. That's how much the loan would be, and this is just going to help promote small businesses to keep their employees instead of laying them off, to of course prevent unemployment to go even higher. So if you are a small business and you have payroll, you guys can check that out too. All the resources that I found are going to be down below to make it as easy as I can to help you guys out. A lot of people have been asking me if I am still paying my rent in New York City. So while I'm not in New York right now, I am still paying rent, and thankfully I, as of now, am fine with paying rent, but I can imagine that majority of you guys are not. Majority of people, especially if you're unemployed, we cannot afford rent right now. A lot of people just account for that monthly paycheck to pay rent, which is normal. If you guys cannot pay rent, the number one thing I would suggest is speaking to your landlord and trying to figure out some type of agreement. Some landlords are being generous, others are not. Even if you can meet in the middle and offer to pay 25% of the rent a month and then pay the rest back later, something like that to help can be beneficial. There are some banks in some states that might be doing mortgage freezes, so consider if your landlord might have that with your property. Just talk to your landlord. You always want to have good faith with them. The good thing that states are doing is that they cannot evict you right now. A lot of states have rules in place that they cannot evict you during this time, so if you don't pay rent, you can't get evicted. Just having that good communication and that good faith with your landlord, I do think is important, and speaking to them to see if you guys can come to an agreement is the most important thing. So not just assuming that you don't pay, just having a conversation with them. And you know what, some landlords are not nice and will not understand and be like, too bad, you have to pay. I feel like a lot of landlords in New York are doing that, but it's always best to have that conversation. And just remember your rights as a tenant, that you cannot get evicted during this time for certain states. If you have student loans, a lot of people have been worried about paying their student loans, which is very, very normal. If you have federal student loans, they've actually gotten pushed back to September 30th, where they cannot penalize you for any missed or late payments. So that is really, really great. If you miss payments from now until September 30th, you will not get penalized. So I feel like right now it's most important to cover your rent, your car insurance, your health insurance, the necessities, rather than worrying about student loans. So if you're not being penalized on it and you absolutely cannot afford it, I don't think it's wrong to be pushed back. That is my own advice. I just think it's more important to cover your necessities rather than your debt in emergencies like this. So using your emergency funds to cover those necessities rather than using your emergency fund to pay off your student loan debt. If you don't have federal student loans though, and they're private student loans, you do have to talk to whoever, whichever company, whichever creditor that you guys have, and see if they're offering anything. Never assume that your student loans are going to be forgiven or that your student loans aren't going to have penalty. Always make sure that you're talking to whoever is your creditor with that. And if you are still getting a paycheck, consider yourself very privileged and very lucky. A lot of people in this country are suffering. A lot of people all over the world are suffering. So make sure that you are recognizing that you are very, very, very privileged for still getting that paycheck every single month. I feel like this isn't just affecting the restaurant industry, the bar industry, the retail industry. This is pretty much affecting all industries across the board. So you also just don't want to live life as if nothing was wrong and nothing was happening because you're still getting your paycheck, when month to month it could be different. If this progresses, I can only assume there's going to be more cuts and more layoffs. So just keeping that in mind to make sure that you're still kind of reprioritizing your finances and seeing what you should and shouldn't be spending money on. I also recommend, if you're still getting a paycheck, and even if you're not, just to make a new budget. So you guys know I love budgeting. I'm a huge budget person. I have my own budget on Excel, but I've also been using a spending tracker on the Empower banking app to track my expenses to see exactly how much I'm spending in each category, which has been really helpful. Really, really easy to change the amount and to change your goals in each spending tracker. So I've just been going in and doing that month to month as things gotten worse, as things are going to get better. I'm going to adjust and keep an eye out for that. You just never want to assume that things are going to be perfectly fine because it hasn't affected you yet, because this is going to affect everyone. And if it hasn't affected you yet, amazing. I'm very happy for you. I hope that it doesn't. But the truth is, we have to be prepared in case it does. As for me, I have lowered all of my restaurant expenses, my going out expenses, shopping. No reason to shop considering I'm stuck inside my house and there's no really restaurants open. I've been doing a little bit of takeout and really trying to support local businesses in that, but I honestly haven't even really been doing takeout that much because I've been cooking a lot more. Clearly have not been going out to bars considering none of those are open. I should have been getting my hair done and that's not happening anymore. A lot of expenses for me have gone down, which I'm very, very grateful for, and the fact that I have a family that takes me in, it's super, super nice, and like I'm so, so, so thankful for that. But just reprioritizing your spending, making sure that you're canceling subscriptions that you might not need anymore, really actually looking at your credit card statements and looking at your bills. And that's the thing that I like about the Empower Banking app and having a budget, is that I can clearly see where my money is going. There are no surprises, and I can adjust as needed. If you were expected to maybe spend $500 in restaurants and bars this month, put that $500 to your emergency fund and save it for a time when you really will need it, especially if you have not really been financially affected by this, because it's always better to save more now and worry less later. So you can always adjust that, transfer it to your emergency fund. That's just something that I recommend. Those are some of the things that I have learned and some of the things I have researched and gotten from the experts. I did want to share a message from my financial advisor to maybe help some of you guys out so that you guys can speak to a real expert on the matter.
Hi there, to Natalie's friends and followers. My name is Gideon Drucker. I joined Natalie on her Real podcast a few months ago to speak about what I do, financial planning for young professionals. I was the financial advisor on that pod, and she asked me to speak just a quick minute on what we can do financially in our own lives while all this craziness is happening around us to come out stronger on the other side. And I know a lot of the people watching this are probably a little bit younger. They're still in school, you're just getting out of school. So I wanted to keep it pretty fundamental and high level. Now, all of us are stuck inside, right? We're stuck at home, which really means for most of us that we're spending a lot less money than we're used to. Well, my biggest tip would be, let's find out how much we're spending less now than we were 3 to 4 months ago when we were all out living our life, going out. And is that an opportunity to save a little bit more? You know, make the most of these few months, however long they last, by saving those extra dollars. And if that's not the case for you, because maybe your income went down with everything that's happening, well, just knowing, hey, what's coming in, what's coming out, knowing that information, no matter what else, is always a starting point. It lets you breathe and say, hey, there's an opportunity, or there's not yet, but there will be. So that's really my biggest piece of advice, and we can get a lot more deep, but really with all of my clients, that's the starting point. How much is coming in, how much is coming out, and how do we make sure that we're saving that money once we figure out the difference? I hope you enjoyed the video, learned something. Thank you for including me, Natalie, and I hope everyone's staying safe, healthy, and at home. Thanks.
Anyways, again, I know everyone's situation is different, and of course this really mainly applies to my United States based viewers because a lot of the government assistance programs is only for the United States, obviously, but the other things like free budgeting, talking to your landlords could apply across the board. So I hope that this helped you. I am so sorry for anyone that has lost their jobs, and also something I really want to start doing is really hearing about your specific situation. So if you guys have gotten laid off recently, you guys don't know how you're going to pay your bills, leave your Venmo in the comments. I can check that out, or you can have other people in the comments if they're feeling generous, and if they have still a paycheck that they want to donate to you guys, then they can find it easily in the comments down below. So I would love to have that happen, kind of have a generosity train going on, and I think that that would be just really helpful. But I'd love to know your experiences. If you guys have any additional tips, if you guys have tried filing for unemployment already, please let me know. And if you guys are in other countries and not just the United States and you made it this far, let me know what it's like in your country, because the United States right now, unemployment's at an all-time high. People are freaking out over finances, which is understandable, and I'm assuming a lot of other countries are like that too, but I don't know firsthand. So I'd love to know what it's like in your country today and how your government is handling everything. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I know this was a very boring video and wasn't that fun and exciting, but I think it was a video that needed to be said. I want to thank Empower Banking for working with me on this video. I really do use them all the time. I think it's an amazing app. It's really changing the way, especially for young people who are starting to get more into finances, but really for anyone. So thank you to Empower for working with me on this video. I will see you guys in my next video, and I hope that you guys are all staying safe. Okay, bye guys. Love you.